Some people might wonder at what point is a home too small to be worth extending. It really comes down to economies of scale. For any builder to ensure a job and get a building permit and all the necessary documentation in place, there's a minimum cost. So the bigger the extension, the more space you have to apportion those costs across. You may wonder at what point is an extension too small to be valuable or worthwhile? Where's the start and stopping point? And there is no one answer. It depends what's in that extension. It depends on the size of it. For instance, you could have a rather small extension, but it's got valuable items in it like a wet area or a kitchen and so forth. The one thing that I would say is just to turn up to a site, there's a minimum amount of overhead for a builder. So you have insurances, you have building permits and property information and minimum overheads at any job, no matter the size. So of course, the larger area or the more expensive extension that you amortise those costs over, the more efficient it's going to be. But at the end of the day, it's what works for a client. There is no rule that says one extension is more worthy than another. If you're wondering what might add value to an extension, often it comes down to bedrooms. We know if we look at realestate.com, the first thing that it summarises is how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what living areas you have. So statistically, we know that adding a bedroom adds value to a home. If you're extending, the same applies. That is a way to add space and livability and potential an uptick in your value of your home. A larger extension is, of course, going to be more cost effective. I've talked once before about minimum overheads that a builder has. So once a job is already started, those overheads have already been absorbed. The larger the extension, the more you can absorb that across or amortise those costs across the project. Cost per square metre is another question that we often get, and there is no simple answer to that. It does depend what you do in those square meterages. So typically wet areas, that's kitchens, bathrooms, laundries, they're the most expensive things that you can build because they involve every trade. That's where that will always influence at the end of the day how efficient a home is and whether a large extension is going to be more cost effective than a smaller one.